My all-powerful ex-wife, the Colonel, really seemed to forget one tiny little thing. Just like she could wreck the right hand I used to save lives for the sake of her precious comrade, I could also, at her father's life or death moment, refuse the one surgery only I could perform. Yeah, funny how that works. 2 years after our divorce, I was invited back to Fort Bragg as a visiting medical expert. The second I stepped off the plane, boom, I was swarmed by a whole pack of military journalists. Dr. Clark, your father-in-law, the general, was in a car accident. He's in heart failure, and no one at Fort Bragg can perform the necessary surgery. Will you be the one to operate? I replied coolly, no emotion, no nothing. He's my former father-in-law. And please pass a message to Colonel Vance for me. If no one is available to collect her father's body in the end, I'd be happy to do it. The reporters exchanged shocked glances, totally stunned that I would dare say something so bold while still technically affiliated with the military. But of course, none of them knew the real story. Years ago, Chloe Vance's first love, Liam Foster, killed my mother in a hit-and-run while on assignment. I took him to court, but within 3 days, some random guy confessed, and the real killer just walked free like nothing happened. Just like that. Right when I hit rock bottom, Liam's mother was diagnosed with a high-risk brain tumor. And guess what? Besides me, no one in the entire Fort Bragg area could perform the resection. My first reaction? Hell no. But Chloe had my sister and me abducted and dragged to a military guest house. She pinned my hand to the floor with her boot, grinding it down mercilessly, while several big dudes hauled my sister right in front of me. Lily's broken, helpless sobs filled the air. Chloe looked like a straight-up demon, but her face? Calm, almost bored. Ethan, either you get up and operate on Liam's mother, or I open that door right now and let everyone on this base see what a debauched mess your sister looks like. My eyes burned with rage. You know damn well Liam Foster killed my mother. His mother getting sick? That's karma. And you're forcing me to save my enemy's parent. Chloe didn't even blink. Ethan, you have 1 minute left. Your sister's fate is in your hands. Lily's heart-shattering screams stabbed into me like ice shards. My heart felt like it was turning to ash. In the end, I said what she wanted. I'll do the surgery on Liam's mother. Chloe hugged me, satisfied. Good boy. When it's over, I'll give you a new Rolex I brought back from overseas as compensation. Compensation. What a joke. I was rushed into the OR. The surgery lasted 12 brutal hours. The second I stepped out, a nurse ran toward me. Dr. Clark, someone broke in on your sister at the guest house. They said she was with several men. The news is all over the base. She couldn't handle the shock. She's on the roof, threatening to jump. My legs almost gave out. I stumbled to the rooftop. There she was, Lily, sitting on the ledge like a shattered porcelain doll. Lily, come down. Please. I'm begging you. I can't lose you too. She saw me and gave the faintest smile. Ethan, you're here. I moved slowly, reaching out. Her eyes were empty. I'm sorry, Ethan. I just don't have the courage to keep living. I'm going to be with Mom now. And then she leaned back. No hesitation. I lunged like a madman, but grabbed nothing but air. Blood surged in my throat. The world went black. When I woke up, the sharp smell of antiseptic hit me. I felt like a zombie as I walked to the nurse's station and dialed a number I hadn't called in 5 years. I accept your offer, I said. But I have one condition. I want Chloe Vance and Liam Foster to pay for what they've done. Silence. Then a calm voice. Consider it done. I'll come for you myself in 1 month. After that, I called my lawyer. Get a military divorce petition ready for me. Immediately, when I returned to my room, familiar arms wrapped around me. Ethan, what happened to your sister was an accident. Someone broke in by mistake. I shoved Chloe away. My face was stone. She grabbed my hand like nothing happened. You wanted your position back, didn't you? I've already spoken to the hospital administration. I'll even get you that overseas fellowship you've always wanted. How about that? I laughed coldly and yanked my hand away. Is this your idea of compensation? A reward bought with the lives of my mother and my sister. Right then, my lawyer walked in with a file. I took the papers and looked at Chloe with a sneer. You said you'd compensate me with a Rolex, right? Well, here's the bill for the latest model. Sign it. The second she realized it was about money, she relaxed. Typical. But before she could sign, the door burst open. Liam rushed in, panicked. Chloe, my mom's complaining of severe chest pain. Did something go wrong with the surgery? Chloe's fingers dug into my wrist. You said it was a success. Why is this happening? What did you do? The irony almost choked me. Post-operative complications are common. Liam looked desperate. Dr. Clark, I know you hate me. Take it out on me. Just don't let my mother suffer. Chloe's voice turned icy. Go treat her now. If anything else goes wrong, Ethan, you know what I'm capable of. I stared at the document. Sign it. I'll go as soon as you do. She hesitated, then signed fast. I handed the divorce petition to my lawyer. Submit it for review by the commanding officers. Expedite it. 30 days, he nodded. After he left, I followed Liam. The moment I entered the room, a vase flew at my head. Mrs. Foster glared at me. Did you do something to me during the surgery? Why is my chest hurting? I swallowed my anger. Took out my stethoscope. She slapped me. Hard. They call you a genius surgeon, and you think you can fob me off with a stethoscope? My cheek burned. If you question my competence, request another doctor. But your physical assaults are a direct threat to my safety. She slapped me again. What are you going to do? Have you forgotten how your mother and sister died? You'll be next. Then she smirked. Your mother was a scam artist who deserved to be run over. Your sister was a shameless who sold her body. You're no better. That was it. I snapped. I grabbed her throat. What right do you have to talk about them? I can save your life, or send you straight to hell. A force slammed me back. I crashed into the nightstand. Chloe stood in front of them. I thought you'd learn something after your sister. Instead, you're worse. Attacking a patient. You're a profound disappointment. Liam clung to her. Chloe, I don't know why he snapped. My mom just had surgery. She can't handle stress. Chloe looked at him with pity, then glared at me. Since Dr. Clark refuses to apologize, take him to the old family chapel. Let him kneel. He can come out when he admits he was wrong. My blood ran cold. 2 vicious mastiffs were kept there. They dragged me inside. The dogs stared at me like starving monsters. The door slammed shut. The cut on my forehead was still bleeding. The scent drove them crazy. They lunged. One clamped onto my right hand. The other pinned me down. I pounded on the doors. Chloe, the dogs are out of control. Liam's voice answered instead. They were well behaved when I gave them to you. I can't imagine them hurting anyone. Chloe's voice turned cold. Stop playing games, Ethan. I'll let you out when you've learned your lesson. Their footsteps faded. Then, crack. The pain exploded through my wrist. The world went gray. I couldn't even scream as blood pooled beneath me. When I woke up, I was back in a hospital bed. My hand wouldn't move. Chloe rushed over. Ethan, I'm so sorry. The mastiffs severed the tendons in your hand. You'll never hold a scalpel again. The hand that built my career. Gone. Just like that. On the drive back, I stared out the window. She held my good hand. I've arranged a memorial service for your mother and sister tomorrow. We'll give them a dignified send-off. Before I could respond, her phone rang. It was Liam. Chloe, my mom's chest is hurting again. I don't know what to do. Can you come over? Chloe slammed the brakes and looked at me grimly. Ethan, you'll have to walk the rest of the way. Liam needs me. I let out a cold laugh. Are you a doctor? What good can you even do for his mother? Her face instantly turned sour. Ethan, she's suffering from these complications because of your surgical error. I'm just trying to help you atone for your mistake. And with that, she slammed her foot on the gas and sped off, leaving me there like I was nothing. I stood alone on a deserted suburban road. Then out of nowhere, a group of men stepped out from an alley. One of them came up to me and stomped hard on my injured hand. The pain was so insane I almost blacked out. Heard you're Colonel Vance's husband, he sneered. Figured we'd ask you for a little cash. The wound on my hand tore open again, blood pouring out. I don't have any money. The guy gave me a nasty grin. You might not, but the colonel sure does. He pulled out his phone and made a call. A second later, Chloe's voice came through. Who is this? Changing his voice, the man growled. We have Chloe Vance's husband. Wire $200,000 to us, or he's dead. There was silence on the other end, then a cold laugh. You knew I was visiting Liam's mother. Did you really think hiring some actors to stage a kidnapping would be enough to lure me back? I suddenly heard Liam calling her in the background before the line went dead. The kidnapper grabbed a stool nearby and smashed it down on me. I coughed up blood. Behind the railing was a dark lake. I didn't even think twice. I threw myself over the edge. The freezing water swallowed me whole. As I sank, I thought I heard arguing from the shore. He just said to rough him up, not kill him. If he's dead, Who's going to take the fall for this? The next time I opened my eyes, I was back at the Vance estate. I tried to sit up, but a loud crash came from the living room. Chloe had just smashed a vase on the floor. Liam was holding her, rubbing her back. Don't be angry, Chloe. Maybe Dr. Clark was a victim too. The second she heard my name, Chloe's face twisted into a nasty scowl. One of them already confessed. It was all an act staged by Ethan himself. He's so shameless he'd do anything for money. He's no different from his mother or his sister. Her words hit me straight in the chest. It hurt so bad I could barely breathe. She didn't even ask me a single question. She just decided it was all my doing. The next morning, I went to the memorial service Chloe had arranged for my mother and sister. In the main hall, their black and white portraits sat where just a month ago they had sat alive. I knelt before the ceremonial urn, burning offerings. Chloe, who had promised a grand and dignified service, was nowhere in sight. The burial time was close. I looked around the empty hall, then picked up my mother's and sister's urns and walked out alone. The second I stepped outside, reporters swarmed me. Dr. Clark, is it true you conspired with kidnappers to extort your own wife yesterday? First your mother dies in a staged accident, then your sister kills herself out of shame for sleeping around, and now you're blackmailing to skip town. Is your whole family just rotten to the core? Every sharp, mocking question felt like a needle stabbing my heart. I stumbled and fell. The urn slipped from my hands. In the chaos, someone's foot kicked one open. Ashes spilled all over the pavement. I crawled forward on my knees, hands shaking as I tried to gather them. Get back. All of you, get back. But it felt like they were doing it on purpose, trampling over the scattered remains. Don't step on their ashes, please. I'm begging you. Someone shoved me from behind. I fell back, and a sharp pain exploded at the base of my skull. Then a convoy of military Humvees pulled up. Chloe jumped out before her vehicle even stopped. What are you all doing? She saw me lying in my own blood. Her face tightened with pain. She reached toward me, but her hand froze midair. She turned to her aide. Take him to the hospital. The aide hesitated. Colonel, shouldn't you? Chloe turned her back on me completely. I don't want to touch a man who would blackmail his own wife. He's filthy. Those words crushed me. At the hospital, I was trying to sit up when the chief of medicine walked in. Ethan, due to your serious moral failings, which have severely damaged this hospital's reputation, we are terminating your contract. I wish you well. I watched him leave and let out a bitter laugh. When they needed me, I was a god. When they didn't, I was trash. I stayed 3 days. Chloe never came once. After discharge, I went back to the estate. I was about to open the door when I froze. I am not divorcing Ethan. Chloe's voice roared from inside. And I never want to hear you suggest it again. A glass table shattered. Mrs. Vance sat on the sofa, disgust written all over her face. Your husband was in a public brawl. The story is all over the base. It's a disgrace. If you don't divorce him, are you going to let him drag the Vance name through the mud? Chloe ripped the papers in front of her into pieces, her face dark with anger. I already told you I'm never letting him touch me again. As for a Vance family heir, Liam and I will have one together. I stood outside gripping the doorknob, so tight my veins popped. Later that night, I called my lawyer. Liquidate every Vance family asset that's in my name. He sounded confused, but didn't argue. Understood. Your divorce from the colonel is in its final stages. We should have the final stamped approval in 10 days at most. I nodded. Make it fast. I have to be gone in 10 days. Right then, my study door was flung open. Chloe stood there, furious. Where do you think you're going? Before I could answer, someone knocked at the front door. Chloe went downstairs and opened it. Liam immediately pulled her into a sad embrace. Chloe, my mom's been having terrible chest pains ever since the surgery. She leaned into him, whispering comfort. But when her eyes found me on the stairs, they were ice cold. Why is Liam's mother having such severe complications? What exactly did you do during that operation? I shot Liam a cold look. I operated on her brain. If her chest hurts, maybe ask her why. Liam looked even more pitiful. I heard a rare seaweed called dragon's breath can cure any ailment. Since Dr. Clark insists my mother's pain has nothing to do with him, I'll go find it myself. She's the only mother I have. I can't watch her suffer. As he turned to leave, Chloe grabbed him. You can't even swim. You'll die. Then she looked at me. Ethan, her complications are your fault. You will go in Liam's place and find this dragon's breath seaweed. Consider it your penance. I stared at her. My only crime was saving his mother's life. Her face darkened. When did you become so cruel and irrational, Ethan? She had 2 wooden boxes brought in. My men gathered what was left of your mother's and sister's ashes. Whether you get them back is up to you. I clenched my jaw. Even if she's in pain, there are doctors, nurses, and the best equipment in the country at the hospital. You're a colonel, yet you believe in some mythical seaweed? Don't you see how ridiculous this is? Her expression didn't change. Ethan, I don't want to repeat myself. I looked at her, despair washing over me. My heart felt like dead weight. I'll go soon. I was on a boat heading out to sea. The water wasn't insanely deep, maybe 100 feet, but that was still pushing it even for experienced divers. In my diving gear, I watched Chloe and Liam in the cabin sipping expensive wine. My chest felt empty. Liam held his glass to her lips. Are you sure Dr. Clark will be okay diving in this cold? Chloe drained her glass in one gulp, a faint smile on her lips. When Ethan was stressed during his fellowship, he used to dive all the time. He even broke records. Don't worry. The icy wind cut across my face. I flexed my right hand out of habit. She had clearly forgotten the tendons were severed. At the seafloor, a massive manta ray slammed into me, pain exploding in my abdomen. Then I saw it. The dragon's breath seaweed drifting below. I gritted my teeth and dove. The second I grabbed it, I kicked hard for the surface. Out of the darkness, a shark charged at me, jaws wide open. I didn't hesitate. I unstrapped my spare tank and threw it at the beast. As I neared the surface, a ripping pain tore through my injured wrist. I lost the strength to swim and started sinking back toward the shark. Suddenly, the surface above burst open. Someone was swimming frantically toward me. It was Chloe, her face full of panic. The sight was so unreal I almost laughed. Chloe, if I could, I'd wish I had never met you. That night at the estate, I burned with a high fever for days before I could even sip broth. I was packing when the door burst open. Chloe stormed in and grabbed my arm. What did you do to that seaweed? Liam's mother took it, and now she won't stop vomiting. She's worse. I tried to pull away, but I was too weak. You took it from me. Why blame me now that something went wrong? Her eyes were dark. Ethan, your schemes are as filthy as your character. You better pray Liam's mother survives, or I swear I'll make you pay. I froze. The disgust in her eyes sliced through me like a blade. She lifted her hand, and just like that, 2 soldiers walked in. Her eyes were ice cold. Ethan, since you still won't repent, you're going to the hospital to kneel at the entrance. You'll stay there until Liam's mother is out of danger. Take him. And he is not to stand up without my express permission. Yeah, I was dragged out like some damn criminal to the hospital entrance and forced to kneel under the judgmental, scornful stares of everyone walking by. I knelt there from morning till evening. No breaks, no mercy, until Liam finally walked out of the hospital. My mother is out of danger, he said. I asked Chloe to let you go home and rest. Right then, the pager in my pocket buzzed. It was a message from my lawyer. Dr. Clark, your divorce from Colonel Vance has been finalized. I've sent the official decree to you. The second I read that, a wave of relief hit me. I was finally free. No more chains. No more prison disguised as marriage. Slowly, painfully, I stood up. I looked Liam Foster dead in the eye. Liam Foster, I said, my voice hard as steel. I'm going to enjoy watching what happens to you. Then I straightened my back and walked off into the darkness. After leaving the hospital, I went straight back to the estate, grabbed my packed suitcase, gave one last look at the house that had been my prison for 5 long years, and walked out of the Vance property without even looking back. Not once. As I reached the main gate, a sedan pulled up smoothly in front of me. The window rolled down, revealing a woman with sharp, striking features and a cool, composed vibe. Ethan, it's been a long time. Back at the hospital, Chloe was sitting in the corridor when Mrs. Foster's attending physician walked up holding a chart. Colonel Vance, the test results are back. Mrs. Foster has a simple case of gastroenteritis. It's nothing serious. Dr. Clark's surgery was flawless. Chloe's hand froze on the report. Before she could say anything, her aide rushed up, panic written all over his face, holding out a phone. Colonel, there's been an emergency at your parents' house. The moment she answered, she heard her mother's hysterical sobs. Chloe, it's your father. He was in a car accident. A piece of glass is embedded in his heart. He needs surgery immediately, but the position is too risky. No surgeon at Fort Bragg will touch him. For the first time, real panic flickered across Chloe's face. The doctor beside her spoke up. Across the entire base, Dr. Clark is the only surgeon capable of handling that procedure. It's a shame about his hand, but maybe if he were here to guide another surgeon, there might still be a chance. Hearing that, Chloe immediately sent her men to find me. They all came back with the same answer. I had completely vanished from Fort Bragg. Her face went blank. A sharp pain gripped her chest. She clutched at her heart and staggered toward the exit, barking orders at her aide. I don't care what you have to do. Find Ethan Clark. Now, get him to this hospital to save my father. By the time Chloe reached the other hospital, her mother's face was white as a sheet. Chloe, what are we going to do? The chief of staff consulted the best specialists in the country. None of them can help. They all say Ethan is the only one who could perform this surgery. Chloe squeezed her mother's hand. I've already sent people to find him. He'll come. Her mother looked at her with despair-filled eyes. But Chloe, his hand is destroyed. How can he operate? Bitterness crept into her mother's voice as she weakly beat her fists against Chloe's shoulder. If you hadn't insisted on helping Liam Foster and his mother, Ethan's hand would never have been ruined. Your father wouldn't be lying in there helpless, waiting for the one man who can't save him. Chloe glanced at her watch, agitated. 30 minutes. No news. She stormed to the nurse's station and called base command, her voice furious. Why haven't you found him yet? How hard is it to find one man on this base? Colonel, her aide stammered. It's like he vanished after leaving the estate. We have no idea where he went. Her stomach dropped. Hearing this, her mother collapsed to the floor, completely breaking down. What now? Ethan's gone. You've sentenced your father to death. Chloe clenched her fists and dialed the number of the apartment I owned before we got married. The only real home I ever had, where my mother and sister had lived. The call connected fast. A stranger answered. Hello. Chloe froze, then snapped. Who is this? Put Ethan Clark on the phone. Silence. Then the man exploded. I bought this place. Who the hell are you? Call again, and I'll report you for harassment. The line went dead. Chloe stared at the phone. I had sold the last place that meant anything to me. Real panic started swallowing her whole. Just then, Liam showed up, having heard about her father. Seeing Mrs. Vance on the floor, he rushed to help her. Mrs. Vance, why are you on the floor? The general will be fine. I'm sure of it. Mrs. Vance looked at him and slapped him hard. Get away from me. If it weren't for you, Ethan's hand would never have been destroyed. Liam held his burning cheek, a flash of venom in his eyes before he masked it. He turned to Chloe with a fake wounded look. Chloe, I just came to see if I could help. Ethan knows the general is in trouble, yet he chose this exact moment to disappear. Doesn't that seem intentional? Chloe's face darkened. You have no right to talk about my family. Right then, the operating room doors swung open. A surgeon stepped out, face grim. I'm sorry. We did everything we could. San Francisco. I sat by a window overlooking the bay, face unreadable. A pair of hands slid a file toward me. This is what I promised you. I looked at the document, a 50% profit share, and raised an eyebrow. I thought our arrangement was more about getting revenge on Chloe Vance. A smile curved Isabella Hayes' lips as she sat across from me. If we're going to be partners, I need to show commitment. Besides, it took me 5 years to finally recruit you. 5 years ago, Isabella Hayes, heiress to the Hayes fortune, approached me about collaborating on a new antiviral drug. Her labs were in San Francisco. Back then, I couldn't imagine leaving Chloe, so I turned her down without hesitation. I gestured with my right hand. I assume you've heard what happened, Miss Hayes. My right hand is useless now. She looked at my hand, sympathy in her eyes, and something else. Ethan, it was never your hands I wanted. It was your mind. She extended her hand. Ethan, welcome aboard. I shook it firmly. It's a pleasure. She slid a photo to me. Chloe Vance's father was in a car accident 3 hours ago. The entire Vance clan is tearing Fort Bragg apart looking for you. The photo showed Chloe standing outside, grim-faced, Liam beside her with his head in his hands. I glanced at it and dropped it straight into the trash. My hand is useless. Even if they found me, I couldn't help. Isabella glanced at the discarded photo, a faint smile playing on her lips. Let's get underway. As the San Francisco skyline faded into the distance, the fist I'd been clenching finally loosened. Chloe Vance, I hope you never know peace again for the rest of your life. The Vance estate. Chloe drove home from the hospital like a maniac. When she shoved the door open, a cold draft greeted her. Everything looked normal, but something felt off. Liam followed her in, greed flashing in his eyes as he looked around the luxurious living room. Chloe rushed to the master bedroom and flung open the closet. My side was completely empty. The image of me packing flashed in her mind. So I'd been planning my escape even then. Liam wrapped an arm around her waist. Chloe, Ethan must have known seaweed would make my mother sick. That's why he planned this in advance. At his words, Chloe grabbed her phone. I don't care what it takes. Find Ethan Clark. I'm going to make him pay for my father's death. Just before she hung up, her aide spoke quickly. Colonel, an urgent document was delivered to headquarters. It's from a law firm. Should I bring it over? She frowned. Just leave it. The next day, she held a grand memorial for her father. Fort Bragg's top military leaders and business elites were all there. After handling the arrangements, she noticed Liam playing host, acting like he belonged there. Guests whispered behind their hands. I heard she let Ethan's hand get destroyed for that guy, Liam. And now her father needed the one surgeon who can't operate. That's karma if I've ever seen it. Everyone knows Liam abandoned her years ago. Now that she's a colonel, he crawls back and turns the Vance family upside down. If it weren't for him, General Vance might still be alive. Mrs. Vance overheard. Her expression darkened. Still no sign of Ethan? She asked. Chloe scanned the crowd. No familiar face. Not yet. But don't worry, Mom. I'll make him pay. The service began. Chloe stepped up to deliver the eulogy. A slideshow was supposed to honor her father's life. But when the screen lit up, the crowd gasped. Chloe turned and froze. Instead of her father's photos, images from the day of my mother's hit and run filled the screen. Clear as day, Liam Foster was in the driver's seat. His face twisted with cruelty as he sped toward my mother. One image showed the car running over her body. Another showed him reversing, crushing her again. She was clearly dead. Liam went crazy and charged the stage. Take those down. Now. Chloe grabbed his arm, eyes blazing. You told me it was an accident. He shook his head wildly. Chloe, listen. This is Ethan's doing. He faked these. Some digital trick. If he had real proof, why wait until now? Don't believe him. She shoved him away. He stumbled, face pale as hell. Chloe fought to steady herself and shouted at the tech crew. Turn it off. This is my father's memorial. Anyone who dares to disrupt it today is going to answer to me. One of the technicians looked at her, scared out of his mind. Colonel, we don't know where they're coming from. It's not our system. Chloe's face went stone cold. She grabbed a nearby chair, ready to smash it straight into the screen. But the next second, the screen went black, and a new set of photos started popping up. These were the men Chloe had sent to terrorize my sister. A wave of outrage ripped through the crowd. She used Ethan's sister to force him to operate on a murderer's mother. That's sick. Angry shouts exploded from every corner of the hall. Chloe's hands were clenched so tight her knuckles turned white. Her rage was barely under control. Liam scrambled off the floor and grabbed her arm. Chloe, this is all Ethan's setup. He let your father die just so he could wait for this moment and completely destroy us. Chloe shoved him off like he was trash and spun toward her aide. You useless idiots. Why couldn't you find him? The aide stuttered. Colonel, it's like he vanished off the face of the earth. We couldn't find a single trace. Chloe kicked over a chair in fury. Ethan, you've really grown a spine. Right then, the doors burst open and another wave of reporters stormed in. Cameras locked straight on her. Colonel Vance, is it true you had an affair? Arranged a scapegoat to protect Liam Foster and drove Ethan Clark's sister to suicide. Colonel, you destroyed the hands of the only surgeon who could save your father. Aren't you afraid his ghost's gonna come after you? Dr. Clark's family memorial was disrupted. Was that you? And now your own father's memorial is a circus. Is this karma? Chloe's fists were trembling as she glared at them. Get out. All of you. She tried to shove through the reporters, but someone yanked her arm. She lost her balance and fell straight off the stage. She lay there on the floor, humiliated, rage written all over her face. No one stepped in to help. The only thing moving was the non-stop flashing of cameras pointed right at her. For a split second, an image of me lying helpless on the ground flashed in her mind. A sharp pain stabbed through her chest. Ethan, do you really hate me that much? Enough to pay me back for every single cruel thing I did to you. Liam moved toward her, but just then, A police car pulled up outside. Two officers stepped out and walked straight to him. Liam Foster, you're under arrest for vehicular manslaughter. Come with us. Liam looked at Chloe in pure panic, grabbing her hand. Chloe, save me. That bastard Ethan's trying to ruin me. She slapped him so hard his head snapped to the side. What right do you have to slander him? If it weren't for you, none of this would be happening. He held his burning cheek, staring at her like she'd lost her mind. But we're on the same side. Don't let Ethan play you. Can't you see? He's a vicious, manipulative monster. She slapped him again before he even finished. I would never be on the same side as you. If you hadn't killed Ethan's mother, none of this would have happened. Liam covered his face and let out a bitter laugh. Chloe, you're such a hypocrite. You started all this. You were the one who offered to help me. You said Ethan's mother was old, and it didn't matter if she died. Now that he's coming for you, you're dumping it all on me. Chloe stepped forward and wrapped her hands around his throat. What right do you have to judge me? Last I checked, your mother's still in the hospital, right? His face started turning blue. What are you going to do? She shoved him away violently. I'm going to do to your mother exactly what you did to Ethan's. Liam tried to scramble up, but the officers moved in and cuffed him. Chloe, you can't do this to me, he screamed. Chloe just stood there, her face like ice, watching as they dragged him away. The memorial service ended in total disaster. Later, at the cemetery, Mrs. Vance stared at her husband's gravestone, then turned and slapped Chloe across the face. You ungrateful child. If you hadn't thrown away a perfect life to get mixed up with that animal Liam, your father would still be alive. He was a proud man. If he knew his name was being dragged through the mud like this, he'd never rest in peace. Chloe kept her head down, hands clenched tight. I will find Ethan. Just then, her aide ran up. Colonel, there's a problem. There's been movement on your financial assets. Several people showed up at headquarters today, claiming they bought properties registered under your name. I checked. Dr. Clark liquidated every asset in his name. Chloe froze. A cold chill crawled up her spine. Ethan had sold everything. Her mother staggered and collapsed. He's trying to ruin us. He's trying to destroy the Vance family. Chloe turned and ran. When she reached headquarters, a crowd was packed at the gates, yelling for answers. Her aide met her at the car. They're demanding to see you. And after what happened, top brass just issued an order for your immediate suspension. Chloe's face darkened. Still no word on Ethan? How does a living person just disappear from this base? She glanced at the military police station nearby, stepped out of the car, and marched toward it. Inside, she said, hello. I need to report a missing person. My husband. It was the only move she had left. The officer glanced at her, took the marriage certificate she handed over, and started typing. A moment later, he gave it back. Ma'am, you're already divorced. Why are you filing a missing person report on your ex-husband? Chloe stared at him, stunned. What? That's impossible. We were never divorced. The officer looked at her with open contempt. Records show the petition was finalized 5 days ago, signed off by a commanding general. And now you're here looking for him? Sounds like seller's remorse. I've seen it 100 times. Fight the divorce like hell, then come crying after. Chloe staggered back. No, that's impossible. I never signed anything. How could we be divorced? Your records are wrong. She completely lost it. The officer pointed down the road. JAG office is 2 miles that way. Got a problem? Take it up with them. Chloe glanced where he pointed and bolted. As she reached the Judge Advocate General building, a sharp pain crushed her chest, stealing her breath. She forced herself forward. Then a familiar voice stopped her cold. She turned and saw my lawyer standing there. Colonel Vance. What a coincidence. I assume you received your copy of the divorce decree. Her mind went blank. She grabbed him by the collar. What did you just say? What decree? He looked rattled. The decree finalizing your divorce from Dr. Clark. You signed the petition yourself when I brought it to the hospital. Don't you remember? Chloe froze. Her grip slowly loosened. She realized then that from the moment Lily died, I had been planning my exit. She ran back to headquarters like she'd lost her damn mind. The crowd was still there and swarmed her instantly. Chloe Vance, we paid good money for those properties. You can't just back out. Is the Vance family broke? Is that why you're trying to cancel the deals? We're not leaving without answers. We'll make so much noise the Pentagon will hear it. They shoved her around like she was some street criminal, but she moved through them like a ghost. They followed her into her office. On her desk sat a manila envelope. Her hands shook as she picked it up, dread flooding her face. Suddenly, one of the men lunged forward and snatched it. What's this? Classified files. Are you refusing to pay us because the base is in trouble? Chloe shot him a murderous glare and swung at his face. Give that back. The man, his eye already swelling, kicked her hard in the stomach. You hit me? Who the hell do you think you are? You're not Colonel Vance anymore. You're suspended. That makes you a nobody. The crowd piled onto her, fists and feet flying. Through all of it, Chloe clutched the envelope to her chest. She finally tore it open. Inside was the officially signed and stamped divorce decree. The last bit of hope she'd been holding on to snapped. San Francisco. I sat on a park bench with 2 tiny newborn kittens curled up in my lap. In front of me was a small sign, Kittens for Adoption. A shadow fell over me. Hey there, Papa. Are these little guys available? I looked up and met Isabella Hayes's eyes. My face warmed a little. I glanced around, lowering my voice. Their owner just went to the restroom. I'm just watching them for a minute. Isabella sat beside me like she owned the place. I rolled my eyes. Miss Hayes, I didn't know you had jokes. She shrugged, then looked at me, suddenly serious. I'm not joking. Before I could respond, my phone rang, killing the vibe. She laughed. Relax. I'm kidding. You should answer that. I exhaled and picked up. It was a friend from Fort Bragg, practically buzzing. Ethan, have you seen the news? They're saying you wrecked General Vance's memorial service. Man, I didn't know you had it in you to dish out karma like that. And your divorce? It's everywhere. You're a legend, an absolute icon. My grip on the phone tightened. I walked to a nearby newsstand and grabbed a few national papers. Chloe Vance's name was splashed across every front page. Colonel Vance divorced. Vance accused of fabricating evidence. Coercion. Insister's suicide. Decorated colonel suspended from duty. People around me muttered in disgust. This Chloe Vance sounds like a real piece of work. A guy with Dr. Clark's talent could have had an incredible career, and she destroyed it. And all for some dude who dumped her. She deserves every single thing that's happening to her. I heard them cursing her name, talking all kinds of trash, but I felt absolutely nothing. Not a damn thing. I folded the newspaper slowly and looked at Isabella. This was all you, wasn't it? She didn't even try to deny it. I promised you I'd make her and Liam Foster pay. I remembered that desperate phone call from the hospital and just nodded. Thank you. Isabella didn't say a word. Instead, she slipped her hand into mine. Come on. I want to show you something. I hesitated, glancing down at the kittens curled up on my lap. But the owner isn't back yet. She gently picked one of the kittens up. I'm adopting them. Someone from my staff will handle the details with the owner. Don't worry. Hearing that, I finally relaxed. Isabella drove us out of the city to a quiet spot by a lake. When we stepped out of the car, I realized we were at a cemetery. I looked at her, confused. Why are we here? She didn't answer. She just led me through the gates. She stopped in front of 2 new, simple headstones. When I read the names carved into the stone, my legs gave out, and I dropped to my knees. Mom, Lily, I whispered. Isabella stood quietly beside me. I had them moved here, she said softly, to make sure Chloe could never use them against you again. I hope you don't mind that I acted without asking. I carefully wiped the dust from their names before slowly standing up. I looked at Isabella, my heart so damn full of gratitude. Thank you. She just nodded. It was part of our deal. I stared at her, surprised. A flicker of real pain crossed her face. You went through hell, she said. I looked up into her steady, clear eyes, and for the first time, it felt like the deepest wounds inside me might actually start to heal. Fort Bragg. A bottle slipped from Chloe's hand and shattered on the floor. She was slumped on the sofa, drunk out of her mind. Ethan, why would you do this to me? She slurred at the empty room. You love me so much. How could you be so damn cruel and just leave? She tilted her head back and poured more liquor down her throat, memories of our happier days flashing through her mind. Suddenly, a hand brushed her cheek. She flinched, then threw herself into his arms. Ethan, you came back. I knew you wouldn't really leave me. A cruel glint flashed in the man's eyes, but he hid it fast. I'll never leave you, he murmured. Chloe wrapped her arms around his neck and lifted her face to kiss him. Then her eyes cleared. She shoved Liam Foster so hard, he crashed onto the floor. Get away from me. You're not Ethan. Liam sat there sprawled out. Chloe, Ethan was always just my stand-in. Now that I'm back, it's only natural he's gone. Chloe lunged at him and grabbed his collar. Who the hell do you think you are? How dare you call my Ethan your stand-in? The alcohol had mostly worn off now. Her eyes were filled with pure disgust. Why are you here? Weren't you arrested? Liam grabbed her hand. Chloe, did you forget? You're the one who found the scapegoat for me. It's not that easy to reopen the case. The appeal was denied by the review board on an order you personally signed. Chloe's face went cold. Are you threatening me? Liam just smiled and took her hand again. Chloe, I know you were upset the other day. I don't blame you for what you said. But you have to understand, we're in this together. He pulled her into his arms, acting all confident, like he had the upper hand, and leaned close to her lips. You found the scapegoat. You arranged what happened to Ethan's sister. If I go down, Chloe, you're going down with me. So why don't we stop fighting and just be together? He moved in to kiss her. The next second, her palm cracked across his face. You idiot. What makes you think you have any power over me? She shoved him with everything she had, sending him crashing over the coffee table with a cry. Then she walked over and stomped on his hand. You know, Liam, you just reminded me. Your mother is still a patient at the base hospital. She picked up the phone and dialed. Cease all medical treatment for Mrs. Foster. Immediately, panic exploded in Liam's eyes. Chloe, you can't. Chloe looked down at him and laughed. This, Liam, is the price you pay for driving Ethan away. Every ounce of pain he suffered, I'm giving it back to you. Right then, the landline rang. It was his mother. Liam scrambled for the phone. She was sobbing hysterically. Liam, are you at the Vance house? The bastards at this hospital cut off my medication. You need to tell Chloe to fire every single one of them. Now that she's divorced that Ethan, you'll be the colonel's husband, and no one on this base will dare disrespect me again. That idea you had for me to fake the complications was brilliant. It drove him away for good. Before Liam could shut her up, Chloe snatched the phone. She stared at him, eyes blazing ice cold. So it was all a lie? Your mother faked her symptoms just to frame Ethan? He shook his head like crazy. No, it wasn't like that. My mom just thought Ethan stole the life that was supposed to be mine. She just wanted to teach him a lesson. Chloe kicked him hard in the chest. You killed his mother, and then you used your own mother to torment him again and again. Pain exploded in Liam's chest. He coughed up blood. Chloe looked at him, and whatever feelings she once had were gone. All that was left was raw, vicious hatred. She made a small gesture. 2 soldiers stepped in. Take him to the old chapel. He'll stay there exactly as long as Ethan did. Liam stared at her in horror. Chloe, you can't. Those mastiffs will kill me. She didn't blink. You knew they were dangerous. So why the hell did you stop me from helping Ethan? The soldiers dragged him out like trash. He struggled wildly. Chloe, what's so special about Ethan? Why are you doing this for him? Did you forget he staged a kidnapping to blackmail you? You're really going to throw me away for a guy with a criminal record? Chloe's face stayed blank, but her fists were clenched tight. Minutes later, Liam was thrown into the chapel. It was dark and creepy as hell. The only light came from 2 pairs of glowing green eyes in the shadows. He pounded on the heavy doors. Let me out. Please, let me out. All he got in response were deep, threatening barks. The 2 dogs lunged out like cannonballs, jaws snapping around his wrist. The pain was insane. Liam screamed in agony and rage. Chloe, if I die in here, I'll haunt you forever. He stumbled around blindly until his hands found an old landline phone. He was about to call for help when his pager beeped. He frantically dialed his mother's number. Before he could speak, a recording started playing. It was his mother's voice, screaming. So many sharks. I don't want to die. Please let me go. Liam froze, blood draining from his face. Mom, what's happening? Let her go. If you hurt her, I swear I'll kill you. But the message just kept replaying. He dropped the phone and started slamming on the door. Chloe, I'm begging you. Please let us go. I was wrong. I admit it. I was wrong. He fell to his knees, smashing his head against the stone floor over and over until blood ran down his face, while the dogs kept tearing at his hand. The doors never opened. No one came. One of the mastiffs, bored with his hand, sank its teeth into his thigh and dragged him deeper into the darkness. He was shaking uncontrollably, from pain or terror. Who even knew? Chloe, I'm begging you. Let me go? I was wrong. I swear I'll disappear from Fort Bragg. You and Ethan will never see me again. The only answer was snarling and pain so intense it started to go numb. A loud crash echoed through the Vance estate as Chloe hurled a glass against the wall. A bunch of useless fools. You can't find one, man. Her aide stood there, trembling. Colonel, we've checked every port, every airport. There's no record of him anywhere. It's like he vanished off the face of the earth. Chloe's face darkened. A living person doesn't just disappear. Then something clicked. She looked at the guards at the main gate. Question them. I want every detail from the moment Ethan left. The head of staff brought the guards in. According to them, when I left the property, I got into a late model sedan. There was a woman driving. At the word woman, Chloe's eyes narrowed. Find out who owns that car. Now, Ethan has no family left at Fort Bragg. I know all his friends. So who the hell is this woman? A fierce jealousy flared inside her, possessive and burning. She grabbed her keys, but before she could leave, the longtime housekeeper rushed in. Miss Chloe, it's your mother. She collapsed. They rushed her to the hospital. Panic hit her hard. She ran out immediately. At the hospital, a doctor met her with a grim expression. Colonel Vance, your mother has suffered a massive cerebral hemorrhage, but we can't locate the bleed. If we can't stop it soon, she'll likely fall into a persistent vegetative state. Chloe froze. Then she grabbed him by the lapels, rage twisting her face. What do you mean you can't find it? Are you all incompetent? I secured millions in funding for this hospital, and this is the best you can do? The doctor looked exhausted. This kind of surgery requires more than experience. It requires rare talent. Great surgeons are hard to find. Dr. Clark was a true prodigy, the best we had at Fort Bragg. Now that he's gone, a surgery this complex is beyond us. Chloe's hands slipped from his coat. She staggered back, regret washing over her. How did it come to this? She sank to the floor, staring at the red light above the operating room. Silent tears streamed down her face as she slapped herself hard. It was my fault. I did this to Ethan. I destroyed him. And by doing that, I destroyed my parents' last hope. The old bullet wound between her ribs began to ache. She pounded her chest again and again, like she could beat the pain away. Her aide rushed over, looking at her broken state. Colonel, I have to report. Liam Foster has escaped. He found out about his mother, and now he's at the main gate with reporters demanding a statement from you. Chloe stood up. Then she drove straight to the main gate. Before she even stepped out of the car, she spotted Liam standing there, face all busted up and bruised. Hello everyone. My name is Liam Foster, he said to the reporters, rolling up his sleeves and exposing those horrific bite marks on his arms. For the sake of Ethan Clark, Chloe Vance had my mother thrown into the ocean to be eaten by sharks. She locked me inside a chapel with vicious dogs that tore the tendons in my hand apart. Her crimes are endless. Unforgivable. The crowd straight up exploded. That's monstrous. I still remember what she did to Dr. Clark, and now she's already torturing another guy? She's a demon. How is someone that inhuman a colonel? I heard her mother's in the hospital with a brain bleed. Might end up a vegetable, cause no one can operate. See? That's karma. Liam glanced at the crowd backing him up, a nasty glint flashing in his eyes. And those memorial photos, the ones saying I killed Ethan's mother? Fake. All fake. Chloe Vance fabricated everything to frame me, just so she'd have something to offer Ethan. He dropped to his knees, crying like the ultimate victim. My mother survived a deadly brain tumor, only to get fed to sharks. How am I supposed to live with that? The crowd hit peak rage. Murderer. Chloe Vance must pay. She has to answer for this. Liam lost his mother, his hands crippled. How's he meant to live? Chloe Vance has to take responsibility. A smug little smile tugged at Liam's lips. Prison? Nah. He wanted something way more valuable. But then a man pushed through the crowd, clutching a stack of photos. Liam Foster is lying, he shouted. I've got proof he dumped Chloe for money. He's the one who forced Ethan to take that suicidal dive for some so-called miracle cure that almost got him killed. Liam's face drained of color as the photos were shoved into his hands. When Colonel Vance was shot years ago, Liam thought she'd die, so he ditched her without blinking and ran off with a wealthy heiress. When she got sick of him, he couldn't afford his fancy lifestyle anymore, so he started mooching off other rich women. The man flung down a pile of compromising photos, Liam with various older, wealthy women. The crowd went dead silent. Liam stared at them in horror. It's not true. These are lies. Too late. The mob had flipped. Have you no shame, Foster? You're a gigolo playing victim. Disgrace to the uniform. Filthy. I feel gross just looking at those. I can't believe Chloe Vance ever touched him. He probably has diseases. Monster and leech. What a joke. And he dares slander Dr. Clark? Liam finally snapped. Go to hell. All of you. San Francisco. I had just stepped out of the lab when my assistant handed me a phone. Dr. Clark, it's for you. A friend. Ethan, you see the news? Liam Foster caused total chaos at the main gate. Absolute bloodbath. And Chloe's mother had a massive brain bleed, too much oxygen deprivation. She's vegetative now. Talk about karma, huh? My grip tightened on the phone, but my face stayed calm. None of that has anything to do with me anymore. After hanging up, I picked up the newspaper on my desk. Chloe and Liam's names were splashed everywhere. A slender hand set a warm cup of tea in front of me. I looked up into Isabella's eyes. Thinking about watching them rip each other apart, she asked. I took a sip and shook my head. Doesn't concern me. My only focus is finishing the drug research I owe you. She stopped, turned to face me. You've done so much for me. Helped my mother, my sister. Everything. I'm grateful. The only way I can repay you is finishing this project ASAP. Her smile faded. You know, sometimes you're unbelievably dense. I blinked, confused, but she had already walked off. Since you insist you owe me, she called back, then just keep owing me. Preferably for the rest of your life. I hurried after her. Isabella, what's that supposed to mean? You expect me to work for you forever? She gave me a deadpan look and rolled her eyes. And they call you a genius, Fort Bragg. Chloe sat by the window as her aide handed her a file. The sedan belongs to the Hayes family. Her hand froze. The Hayes family? The ones with century-old influence. The aide nodded. Isabella Hayes returned 2 weeks ago. Bought a new vehicle with full base access. Dr. Clark likely left with her. At Isabella's name, Chloe's frown darkened. She stared at Isabella's photo and slammed her fist down. Isabella Hayes. You will not take Ethan from me. The phone rang. The aide answered, face turning grim. Colonel, we found the kidnappers. They confessed. Liam Foster hired them. He staged everything to frame Dr. Clark. Dr. Clark was innocent the whole time. Chloe's expression turned lethal. That night, Liam felt a chill crawling down his spine. He pulled his collar tighter, walking faster. A shadow lunged from an alley, hand clamped over his mouth and nose. Before he could fight back, everything went black. He woke in a dim basement. Chloe sat on a sofa, staring at him. Panic hit hard. What do you want? She rose slowly, walked over, and brought her boot down on his thigh. You dared touch Ethan? You framed him. I don't know what you're talking about. Ethan staged it himself. She ground her heel into his hand. His scream ripped through the room. She tossed photos at him. His mother hanging from a crane over the ocean. Sharks circling below. His mind shattered. Chloe, you can't. That's murder. She grabbed his throat. And what you did to Ethan's mother wasn't. He glared, hatred blazing. You're the one who deserves to die? You pushed him into the abyss, and now you pretend to care. His face purpled. She stared coldly, then shoved him. He slammed into the wall, crack. Pain shot through him. He collapsed, wishing for death. Chloe clapped. The door opened. Large, rough-looking men entered. Liam's terror spiked. Chloe, please. I was wrong. Just this once. She didn't even look back. This is what you deserve. And what about you, Chloe? When do you get what you deserve? He screamed. Only mocking laughter answered him. Heard you were a gigolo, one man sneered. We don't like gigolos. They dragged him into the darkness. As Chloe stepped out, her aide approached. Colonel, we found him. The Hayes family has a research project in San Francisco. Isabella Hayes is overseeing it. Chloe saw San Francisco and headed straight for her car. Booked the next flight. She paused. Bring me the urns with Ethan's mother's and sister's ashes. As long as I have them, he'll come back. Colonel, they're gone. Stolen 2 weeks ago. Her eyes narrowed. Who dares steal from me? A housekeeper was dragged forward, shaking. Miss Hayes paid me to take them. Chloe's fists clenched. Isabella Hayes. Ethan is mine. You will not take him. San Francisco. I walked out of the lab after an all-night grind, exhausted. A sleek car pulled up. Isabella stepped out, opened the passenger door, smiling bright. I slid in without small talk. She handed me a bag. You've earned this. Inside, coffee and a bacon, egg, and cheese croissant. Exactly how I like it. Where'd you find this? I made it. I almost choked. You can cook. There's a lot you don't know about me. We've got time. My ears burned. I looked out the window, then pulled out a file. The drugs and final trials. Results in a day or two. She didn't even look. Instead, she called her assistant. Arrange a press conference in 3 days. The world will hear about the new drug Hayes Corporation developed with Dr. Ethan Clark. I blinked. Shouldn't we wait for results? If it fails, that's serious damage. She looked at me, steady and confident. I believe in you. And it's my call. You just focus on your work. No matter what happens, I'll handle it. Don't feel pressured. I was stunned. It was the first time anyone had ever shown me that kind of unconditional faith, promising to ride or die and stand by me no matter what. I just nodded, still kinda shook. As the morning sun streamed into the car, I felt this faint flutter in the part of my heart I thought had been sealed off forever. San Francisco. The moment Chloe stepped off the plane, a cold wind smacked into her, making her shiver. She was about to hail a cab when she spotted a familiar face on the massive digital billboard in the plaza. It was me, sitting there cool and confident for the camera, holding a vial of a newly developed medication. Behind me, the corporate logo of the Hay Corporation was front and center. I heard Ethan Clark developed a new antiviral for the Hayes Corporation that's going to blow every other pharma company out of the water. It'll make them the undisputed leader in the market. That Chloe Vance is a real idiot. She had a husband like that and threw him away for some gigolo. She traded a diamond for a piece of glass. The chatter around her hit like a knife twisting in her chest. She stared up at my image on the screen, her face filled with desperate longing. Ethan, she whispered, I'm here to take you home. Chloe followed the address from the advertisement straight to the press conference. The second she arrived, security blocked her at the door. This is a private Hayes Corporation event. No unauthorized entry. She shot the guard a dark glare. Get out of my way. I am Colonel Chloe Vance from Fort Bragg, and I am here to see my husband. The guard looked her up and down, then let out a mocking laugh. I don't care if you're a colonel or a crossing guard. No invitation, no entry. For all I know, you're from some rival company trying to steal trade secrets. Chloe's eyes flared with fury, her hands balling into fists. I don't have time for this. I am going inside, and I am getting my husband. She stepped forward, trying to shove past him. A second later, another guard smacked her across the back with a baton. Who the hell do you think you are trying to crash a Hayes Corporation event? You got a death wish, or what? A sharp pain exploded across her back. She tried to push herself up, but the first guard kicked her hard in the chest, sending her crashing down again. Are you going to leave, or do we have to get rough? They kept kicking her while she lay there, too beaten to even stand. Through the crack in the partially opened doors, she could see inside. She saw me on stage, smiling confidently, holding the product I had developed, the center of everyone's attention. I looked calm, self-assured, every move owning the room. Chloe reached a trembling hand toward the doorway. Ethan, she rasped. I'm here. The guard followed her gaze and realized she was pointing at me. His face darkened. So, you're after our CEO's fiancé, huh? You shameless idiot. Take a good look at yourself. What makes you think you're even in his league? His words stabbed straight through her heart. She grabbed his leg as he moved to kick her again. What did you just say? What do you mean, fiancé? The guard sneered down at her. You didn't know? Our CEO, Ms. Hayes, has been pursuing Dr. Clark for years. Everyone knows they're practically engaged. He's as good as her fiancé. Chloe's hands clenched tighter. That's impossible. Ethan belongs to me. No one can take him from me. She forced herself up and limped away, heading toward the back entrance. After the press conference ended, Isabella led me off stage, her eyes soft. You were amazing today. I knew you would be. I let out a huge breath. Without thinking, I squeezed her hand. She froze for a split second, surprised, before I blurted out. You have no idea how nervous I was. My heart is still racing like crazy. She smiled at my flustered excitement. I looked down and realized I was still holding her hand. My face heated up and I quickly let go, walking ahead. I'm just going to the green room for a minute. You should handle the post-conference stuff. Isabella stayed where she was, a small smile playing on her lips as she watched me leave. I reached the green room door, still feeling warm in the face. I pushed it open, and suddenly a pair of hands shot out of the dark, yanking me inside. I started struggling, but a familiar voice whispered in my ear. Ethan, it's me. The lights flicked on. I recoiled at the sight of Chloe's pale, bruised face. Chloe, what are you doing? She saw the exhaustion in my eyes and looked almost hurt. Ethan, are you afraid of me? I tried to push her away, but she wrapped her arms around me like iron chains, pinning me in place. Chloe, there's nothing between us anymore. What you're doing right now is a threat to my safety. Her grip tightened. She looked at me like I'd lost my mind. A threat? Ethan, you're my husband. We're supposed to be together. I bit down hard on her shoulder, trying to break free. Chloe, we are divorced. We can never go back to what we were. Pain shot through her shoulder, but she didn't even flinch. She just held on tighter. It's not over until I say it's over. We can get married again. Ethan, you belong to me, and you always will. She started dragging me toward the door. Just as she grabbed the handle, we heard footsteps outside. The press conference is over, Isabella called. The team is heading to a bar to celebrate. We're all waiting for you. It was Isabella. I tried to shout, but Chloe slapped her hand over my mouth. Is she the reason? Is Isabella Hayes the reason you won't come back to me? She hissed, gripping me like a vice. You belong to me, Ethan. Only me. When I didn't answer, Isabella knocked again. Ethan, are you in there? Everyone's waiting. I struggled, but I was completely pinned. Then a staff member's voice chimed in. I think Dr. Clark already left a few minutes ago. Isabella sighed. He left without me. Her footsteps slowly faded down the hall. Chloe cracked the door open. Once she was sure Isabella was gone, she dragged me into the hallway. I'm taking you home now, Ethan. The second she stepped out, a knife blade pressed against her throat. Let him go. Chloe looked up into Isabella's icy eyes. Isabella Hayes, what do you think you're doing? Isabella pushed the blade slightly deeper. Let go of Ethan, or I'll gladly slice your throat open. She glanced at me, saw I wasn't hurt, and relaxed just a little. Chloe glared. Who the hell do you think you are? Ethan is my husband. This is none of your business. I let out a cold laugh. Chloe, it's been over between us for a long time. The moment my mother died, any future we might have had died with her. Chloe reached for me, but Isabella pressed the knife forward. The blade broke skin, and a thin line of blood slid down. Slowly, Chloe let me go. The second I was free, I stepped behind Isabella. She shielded me with her body. Ethan, go. I didn't hesitate. I turned and ran. As she watched me leave, Chloe felt a pain so sharp in her chest she could barely breathe. Isabella waited until I was out of sight, then exhaled and blocked Chloe's path, lowering the knife. Chloe, Ethan is not your property. He doesn't belong to anyone. With that, she turned and followed me. Chloe stood there, fists clenched so tight her knuckles turned white. I will never let you go, she thought. You belong to me. Isabella drove me home in silence. I stared at the city lights as a flood of buried memories hit me all at once, my thoughts a total mess. Suddenly, her hand gently covered mine, pulling me out of it. Don't worry, Isabella said softly. I'll have security posted outside your place for the next few days. Chloe won't dare try anything. I nodded. I know we can never go back. I just never imagined she would become this. When I got back to my apartment, I was about to call it a night when the power suddenly cut out, throwing the whole place into darkness. I froze, a sudden, unexplainable panic rising in my chest. I reached for my phone to call Isabella, but before I could even tap her name, a pair of arms wrapped around my waist from behind. Ethan, Chloe's voice whispered in my ear. I've got you. Before I could react, she pressed a cloth over my mouth and nose. The smell hit me hard. My world faded to black. When I opened my eyes, I was in a familiar bedroom, the same damn bedroom in the house that had been my prison for 5 long years. Chloe was leaning over the bed, her expression full of adoration as she gently stroked my cheek like everything was normal. I shot up instantly, knocking her hand away. Chloe, are you insane? Do you have any idea what you're doing? You're a military officer. This is kidnapping. She grabbed my wrist, her eyes burning with a fierce, almost crazy possessiveness. What law am I breaking by bringing my husband home? I stared at her in horror, trying to pull away, but she ignored me. She calmly laid out my ID and documents on the bed, then started dragging me toward the door. We're going to the courthouse today to get a new marriage license. I clung to the headboard for dear life. Chloe, I don't love you anymore. It's over between us. We will never have a future together. She stopped pulling. Her face twisted into utter disbelief. Ethan, you can't do this to me. I've given up everything for you. I can't lose you now. I scoffed. Chloe, you didn't lose everything because of me. You lost it because of your own actions. And you've never loved me. The only person you've ever loved is yourself. She grabbed me again, her voice cracking with desperation. That's not true. I love you. You're the only one I've ever loved. The people who hurt you, I made them all pay fold. Then please believe me, I'll be good to you. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. Just come back to me. I just stared at her, my eyes cold as ice. Chloe, I hate you. From the moment my sister jumped off that roof, the only thing I have ever felt for you is hate. I slowly pushed her away. But now I don't even feel hate. I just feel pity. She froze, her face a mask of shock. You pity me? Just then, her pager beeped. A message from her aide. Colonel Vance, your mother suffered complications from cerebral hypoxia. Resuscitation efforts were unsuccessful. She was pronounced dead moments ago. Chloe staggered backward, her face going pale as hell. How had it all come to this? She looked at me, eyes empty, like she was begging for an explanation. I stared back at her, my voice completely numb. It's called karma, Chloe. The words had barely left my mouth when sirens started wailing outside. Chloe rushed to the window. The street below was packed with police cars. While she was distracted, I bolted for the door. But the second I yanked it open, I froze. Liam Foster was standing there. His face was twisted with rage, eyes locked on me like a predator. Finally, he hissed. I've been waiting for you. He was holding a knife, and he lunged at me like a wild animal. Before I could even react, Chloe yanked me behind her. The knife sliced through the air where I'd just been standing. She glared at Liam, her face dark. What are you doing here? Liam looked down at his torn clothes and the festering wounds covering his body, then let out a bitter laugh. Chloe, you threw me into hell. I only held on this long, so I could be the one to personally drag you down with me. He saw her standing protectively in front of me, and the hatred in his eyes boiled over. And it's perfect that you brought Ethan back. Now I can send you both to hell together. He pulled a lighter from his pocket, and that's when I finally noticed the strong smell of gasoline. He looked at Chloe, eyes wild and unhinged. Even if you get out of here, Chloe, you'll never escape justice. You might as well just die here with Ethan. With that, he flicked the lighter and tossed it onto the gasoline-soaked floor. The room exploded into flames. Chloe immediately shoved me behind her, then grabbed a heavy vase and hurled it at the window behind us. The glass shattered everywhere. Seeing his escape blocked, Liam charged at us with the knife. Neither of you is getting out of here alive. In that split second, Chloe threw herself in front of him, taking the full force of his lunge. The knife sank deep into her side. Blood spilled onto the floor, but she just turned her head and looked at me. Ethan jumped now. I didn't hesitate. I scrambled through the broken window. Isabella was standing on the lawn below, her face full of panic and worry. I glanced back one last time at Chloe. She managed a painful smile, her eyes filled with desperate love. Ethan, I'm sorry. In the next life, can you give me another chance? I didn't answer. I turned and jumped. The moment my feet left the ledge, a massive explosion shook the house behind me. The entire building was swallowed by flames in seconds. I lay on the grass for a moment, stunned, before forcing myself up. I stared at the inferno as a single tear slid down my cheek. Chloe was dead, burned in the fire along with Liam. She was posthumously dishonorably discharged, and the Vance family was barred from any future military or government service. I spent some time recovering in the hospital. The day I was discharged, I took the first flight to San Francisco. The sky was completely clear. I knelt in front of my mother's and sister's graves, carefully pulling the weeds growing around them. Mom, Lily, I said softly. Liam Foster and Chloe Vance are dead. Everyone who hurt you has paid the price. Just then, a bouquet of sunflowers was placed gently on the grass beside me. I looked up, surprised, into Isabella's eyes. Did you sneak back here just to avoid me? She asked. I looked down, feeling a little awkward. I remembered lying in the hospital, drifting in and out of consciousness, feeling someone cup my face in their hands and softly kiss my forehead. Ethan, a voice had whispered. From now on, you're not getting away from me. Thinking about that kiss made me shift my gaze uncomfortably. Isabella stood on her toes and cupped my face in her hands again. It's okay, she said gently. I'll wait. I'll wait for the day you're ready to really open your heart to me. The day you're ready to let me in for good. I've already waited 5 years. I don't mind waiting for the rest of my life. As long as it's you I'm waiting for, I have all the patience in the world. I looked down at her, standing there in the warm sunlight, and a small smile formed on my lips. Isabella, I began. The weather is beautiful today, and it's good to have you here with